New York Jet last Monday night. For the second week in a row, this season of promise has the potential of turning into another dismal year of Jet football. On a career night for Blair Thomas, you felt the Bears strip away the ball and rip out your heart. You get a reprieve, but the nightmare continues. Pat Leahy doesn't miss chip shots, does he? Was this really happening? What about your quarterback? Can he purge the frustration of the past 2 weeks, the past 9 years? Where do you go from here? Do you come back from the edge, or will that horrible night terminate your dreams of glory? Where do you go from here?
NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets.
It is a beautiful 74-degree day in the New Jersey Meadowlands. A capacity crowd better than 76,000 turning out, including the man who once roamed the sideline across the way from our broadcast booth. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with Bill Parcells. So where do the Jets go from here? Have they reached the stage where today is a critical game?
Well, Bruce Kozlett says it's not, but I think it is, Marv. They played 2 playoff teams from last year very well, but they haven't won. It doesn't make any difference how they play today. They need to win one. The Dolphins do present a good opportunity for them right now.
And last week, the Miami Dolphins just did get by Green Bay. They squeaked by, and they have been struggling. Dan Marino and the Dolphins have had their difficulties as of late. Why has Marino been so ineffective the past 2 games?
I think all the Dolphins' problems go back to training camp. Their offensive line hasn't been together. Marino just does not have the same firepower. They're starting their 3rd tight end in 5 weeks. They haven't thrown the ball to their backs anywhere near as well as they have in the past. And I think, in essence, that's the problem. They're taking Duper and Clayton away, and he just doesn't have anybody else to go to.
Well, the Jets have won the toss, and they will receive. Miami Dolphins with a record of 2 up and 2 down, and the Jets at 1 and 3. Don Shula, the NFL's winningest active coach in his 29th season as an NFL head man, is 22nd with the Dolphins and now seeking career win number 301. And there is Bruce Kozlett, who faced the second guessing right throughout the week. We'll get to that a little bit later on. In his 2nd year as head coach, following a successful career as Sam Weich's top assistant in Cincinnati. Terrence Mathis and Dale Dawkins waiting for the kickoff from Pete Stoyanovich. Dawkins, 2nd-year man out of Miami, and Terrence Mathis leading the NFL in kickoff return. And here comes Mathis. Good coverage by the Dolphins, who have had their difficulty on special teams, in particular in the absence of the injured Kerry Glenn. Aaron Craver made the stop. And a look at the Jet offensive line. They have played well. In particular, on Monday night, they handled the Bears pass rush extremely effectively. Jets will start out at the 19. Ken O'Brien has not been effective, averaging only 6 yards per pass attempt. He's thrown only 1 touchdown pass his last 119 throws. And Blair Thomas opens up as the single back. Here's Thomas on the draw. So Thomas, on the first play of the game, goes for 24 yards, and here's it from the crowd. Jarvis Williams and Vesky Jackson combined to make the stop.
Well, Blair Thomas, of course, he had that unfortunate fumble the other night, but quite obviously Bruce Kozlett hasn't lost any confidence in this guy, and if I were coaching the Jets, I wouldn't either.
You know, Blair was telling us yesterday he's had a lot of interview requests during the week, as you'd expect. He said they'd all start by asking about the matchup with Miami, maybe ask questions about Penn State, and they kind of worked their way toward the subject of the fumble. A good fake by O'Brien with lots of time, and another first down as he combines with Rob Moore. And that goes for a 21-yard advance. The free safety, Louis Oliver, with the reps on Moore.
Well, the Jets run a play action here, the same play they just gave it to Thomas. They fake it, and you see 85, Rob Moore coming all the way across behind the Dolphin linebacker, number 51, Brian Cox, and O'Brien lays it over very nicely. They've scored in the zone already.
Sharp start by the Jets. First down at the Miami 35-yard line. Another nice hole, this time on the left side for Thomas. Jarvis Williams on the tackle, checking out the Dolphins defensive unit. Up front, Oglesby, Soche, and Cross. The Dolphins with injury problems at the nose tackle position. We'll also see the rookie Chuck Klingbeil later on. And the secondary with Magruder and Jackson at the corners. The deep men Williams and Oliver, and Bestie Jackson has had his difficulties in recent weeks. J.B. Brown, last year's starter, a holdout, unhappy that he has not been able to get back into the lineup. And the penalty flags are thrown. The referee today is Jerry Austin. The Jets are the most penalized team in the NFL. They have been hit for 305 total yards.
There is no foul on the play. The ball was turned, and when the center turned it over, there is no foul.
As I said, the Jets are on top. Miami, though, number 26 with only 138 penalty yards.
Well, that's something that'll keep you from scoring. You know, we've done some studies on that. Penalties help the other team score and keep you from scoring if you get them on offense.
And Brad Baxter, the ball carrier. Was that an intensive study that was done, Bill?
As a matter of fact, Marv, I'm going to be a little more specific for you.
Obviously.
We did a study over a 4-year period that if you got a defensive penalty, the opponent scored over 90% of the time against you.
All right.
At any time during a drive. 5 yards, 10 yards, 15-yard penalty. They scored 90% of the time.
Jets first down at the 23-yard line with 2.5 gone by in this opening quarter. Again, it's Thomas leading his way. John Offerdahl made the stop. Bruce Coslett was telling us at practice yesterday, if he could do it all over again, he would not have done anything differently concerning the 2 major decisions he made in the Monday night game against Chicago. Do you agree?
I agree 100%. I think you never give the ball back to your opponent unless you have to. He was trying to get a first down to keep from having to give the ball back, and the discussion should end there because he used the exact right strategy, in my mind.
Second down and 4 from the 18. It's Thomas running well. You're not just protecting a former fellow coach. You're saying there's no other decision.
No other decision. You don't kneel down twice and say you're going to punt the ball. You know how many things can go wrong in a punting situation? A bad snap, a muffed snap by the kicker, a missed block, a punt return. There are 5 or 6 things that can go wrong that you don't even have to go through if you just run the clock out. That's what he was trying to do.
It's a 3rd and 3 at the 17. And O'Brien with the wide open Rob Moore for the touchdown. A fast start for the Jets on this opening drive. They cap it off on a 17-yard touchdown pass. Ken O'Brien with only his 2nd touchdown of the season. Rob Moore with his 2nd. And the Jets go 7 plays for 82 yards. Here is Pat Leahy. .406 gone by in the first quarter as Ken O'Brien hooks up with Rob Moore, the 2nd-year player from Syracuse. The Jets 7 and the Dolphins nothing. We'll be back at Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands in just a moment. 7-0 lead. Oliver Dottie in a chat with John Offerdahl. So they pick up the touchdown in 4 minutes and 6 seconds. Louis Aguiar getting set to kick it away to the combination of Mark Logan and the rookie from Fresno State, Aaron Craver. And it is a short kickoff. Craver on the return out to the 20 and brings across the 25-yard line, and some extracurricular activity. Tony Stargell made the stop. And here's another look at that touchdown pass from O'Brien to Moore.
Well, here you see Mike Magruder there. He's supposed to be covering Moore. What happens is this tight end runs in the flat. The linebacker goes with him. Moore comes underneath for the touchdown, and Magruder doesn't even react to the pass at all. You see Moore breaking underneath, and Magruder's off in 10 yards. That's just a missed assignment there.
Miami with Dan Marino at quarterback, first down from the 28, and he comes up throwing in trouble, able to get it away. A bullet throw to Greg Beatty. So Greg Beatty starting at tight end. One-time Patriot, one-time Giant. You had him briefly.
Yes, I did, Mark. We had him in training camp 2 years ago. The competition was a little strong for him, and we had to let him go, but he made it till the final cut, and I'm glad he's hooked on here at Miami.
Well, he picked up the first down. As you look at the Miami offensive set, the offensive line has had its problems. Richmond Webb still rusty coming off the bad knee. Harry Galbraith reported late. He was a holdout. Here's Mark Higgs. And he has smothered the strong safety Brian Washington, combining with the left defensive end Marvin Washington. As mentioned earlier, we will see some of Sammy Smith, who had been on IR with a knee injury. He says also he's still a little bit on the rusty side. There's Sammy Smith. Mark Higgs opening up strong, in particular over the first 3 games. It's a 2nd and 9 at the 41. It's the Jets 7 and the Dolphins nothing. Higgs running left and gets out to the 47, tripped up by James Hasty. A look at the Jet defensive unit. Bill Packel starting for the injured Scott Mercero, inactive today because of a sprained ankle, and Bruce Coslett telling us he'll go with a combination of Packel and Paul Fraze. Jeff Lageman having his best year as a pro. And in the secondary, Stargell and Hasty at the corners, and Washington and Young on the deep man. Lonnie Young has played well in taking over the starting assignment from Eric McMillan. This crowd into it early. 3rd down and 3.
Marino's calling an audible here.
Short set, and Marino able to complete for the first down to Mark Clayton, who was a question mark for today's game because of a groin injury. Stargell and Washington made the stop on Clayton, who picked up 12 yards.
Well, in talking to Dan Marino, there were certain defensive alignments the Jets that he expected from the Jets that he was going to be forced to audibilize against, and one of them was an 8-man front. And he's not going to attempt to run too much against that 8-man front. He's going to call the audible.
He's looking at a first down at the 41. 7 minutes gone by in the first quarter. Play action fake. And Marino incomplete. The hard hit on Clayton, not allowing the reception. Tony Stargell made the play, and they are involved in a heated conversation.
Well, Clayton's been into it twice already in the game. Here you see him coming across the field. This is a zone defense. Stargell shifts off on him, hits him a little early. They don't call the interference, though.
You think that should have been interference?
That was awful close to being interference. You can't hit him early.
2nd and 10 from the 41. Jets 7, Dolphins nothing. Marv Albert, Bill Parcells from Giant Stadium. Marino able to complete to Higgs, just shy of the first down. Stargell there for the stop. When we talked with Dan Marino at practice yesterday, his eyes lit up when he thought the Jets might play some man-to-man.
Well, Marino's not a guy that many people will take too many man-to-man chances against, and specifically blitz chances. We kind of expect the Jets to maybe do that a little bit today, and I think Marino was looking forward to that. He would much prefer to play against man-to-man than zone defense.
3rd down and 1. Higgs tripped up. The Dolphins feel they've picked up the 1st down. The free safety, Lonnie Young, made the stop. That is the defensive coordinator for the New York Jets, Pete Carroll. After the Bears appeared to score in overtime Monday night when both clubs headed off the field on that wild scene, even though the play was being reviewed, Pete was telling us he actually ended up mingling on the sideline with the Bears to see what they were going to do. They had no idea who he was. He ended up next to the Bears' Jay Hilgenberg, who called out the play, and Pete said to him, hey, good idea.
Yeah, he was trying to find out what the Bears were going to do. Sometimes when the clock stopped like that and there's all this confusion after the game, he was just hanging around, and Hilgenberg mentioned running a quarterback sneak, so Carroll was able to call a defense for the quarterback sneak. Unfortunately, it didn't work.
Right, Pete ran back to the Jet sideline and was ready to defend against the play. But
well, he's very youthful looking too, Mark. You know, he could have been a ball boy or something. And Hilgenberg might not have recognized that Jet jersey had a little disguise on. He's a young guy. He might have thought he was a water boy or something.
9th play of the drive. It's a 2nd and 10 at the Jet 30. 6.5 to go. In this first quarter, the Jets 7, the Dolphins nothing. Marino had it deflected, and it is caught. Brett Beatty able to follow the tip, or was it one of the offensive linemen? Let's see.
Keith Sims.
Now Keith Sims it is, okay. The left guard, Keith Sims, off the deflection, and that is a legal play.
Yes, it is. Once the ball's tipped, anybody can catch it. And there's Sims. Ball comes right down on top of him, makes a nice reception, puts it away, and advances it. I'd hate to be those guys trying to tackle him now. He's well over 300.
Yes, 6'2", 305. Coming off a superb rookie season out of Iowa State. It's a 3rd down and 1 at the 21. Back to the ground, and Higgs has the 1st down. Lonnie Young made the stop. Mark Higgs goes, at least listed on the roster, at 5'7", 195 pounds. We chatted with Mark yesterday, and you asked him how, I don't know if you're quizzing him. You don't trust these guys at all, Bill.
Not the short guys. You never trust them.
Nice.
Two weeks ago, you know, he told us he was 5'7" 3/4, and yesterday he told us was 5'7" 1/2. So, you know, they're so used to lying about how tall they are that they can't remember what they said to us. So he was about a half. You know, if we got him a month from then, he'd be down to 5'3".
First down at the 19, and Higgs took a hard hit. He's tough to bring down. He runs very low, very strong, and was able to pick up ground with the 2nd effort. Mike Grimm made the stop. He went for 6 on the play. A look at the ITT 10-minute ticker. 4th quarter, Buffalo in front of Chicago. The Giants beaten again. New Orleans with another victory to go 5-0. Detroit walloping Tampa Bay 31-3. And these are the late games. 2nd down play. Make it a 2nd and 6 down to the 15. Page and Higgs now are the running backs. And Marino fires one over the head of Clayton.
Well, the Jets are a team that uses a corners over defense where they match up on the wide receivers. Their corners always go. And Hasty and Clayton are going to be in the big battle this afternoon. Hasty was telling us yesterday how physically strong that Mark Clayton is, and that he thinks the only way to play Clayton is to match him physically and try to rough him up. And we asked him how he intended to do that, and he said he was going to be mad when he came out of the tunnel. So.
Yes, he likes to get into that angry mentality. This crowd urging the Jet defense on. 3rd down and 6. Marino incomplete. It was intended for James Pruitt. A recent addition to the squad signed last week, replacing the injured Fred Banks, who had been released. Pruitt had been released by Minnesota, then was re-signed by Miami for the 3rd time. And so the field goal unit has come on this 4th down 6. The Jets able to hold the Dolphins. Pete Stoyanovich, young man who loves to kick here at Giant Stadium, had his career high 59-yarder here against the Jets. Also had a 51-yard field goal here. This from 33 yards away with Scott Seacrest putting it down. And Stoyanovich puts it through to make it 6 for 6 on the season. 4 minutes and 13 seconds remaining. First quarter, the Jets 7 and the Dolphins 3. Morning. The Dolphins going 14 plays, but they have to settle for 3 points on a 33-yard field goal by Stoyanovich. Dale Dawkins and Terrence Mathis back for the kickoff. And it's Mathis from his goal line. Good coverage by the Dolphins, spearheaded by Bobby Harden. 4:03 to go in this first quarter. It's the Jets 7 and Miami 3. Sell that special teams play after losing the starting job to Lonnie Young was shaken up on that kickoff return, but apparently is all right. And the Jets start out from their 15. They lead the Dolphins by the score of 7-3. Another play fake by O'Brien, beautifully executed for Rob Moore. So Ken O'Brien, who Bruce Coslett had said has not looked as sharp as he would like, has looked very sharp here at the start. He's 3 for 3 for 54 yards.
Well, O'Brien with the 3 tight end formation in, fakes the play action, of course. That is a running formation normally, and it looks like O'Brien's main guy today is going to be Moore. That's his 3rd reception already, and he's gotten the ball out there to him very well a couple of times.
Altoon is to the right, and Rob Moore left with his first down from the 31. It's back to the ground for Thomas. John Offerdahl making the stop.
Well, the Jets are starting to the left, and then Thomas is looking to cut back to that right side. You know, that's where they made that trade. I think a very good trade for the Jets. Irv Eatman, who's taking that right tackle spot. Thomas starting left and then going back to Eatman and White on the right side, and that's definitely the stronger side on the Jets offensive line. Jim Sweeney.
Irv acquired from Kansas City last February for defensive end Ron Stallworth. And here's Blaine Thomas, a fake reverse, and he decided to take it by himself, and he's hit for a loss. So the Dolphins handled that very well. Combination of Offerdahl with Griggs combining to make the stop.
Well, this is the first play that the Dolphins have really put a stop to. The Jets fake a reverse here, and the Dolphins are there's everybody's over there to help on that tackle. And this is the thing that Jeff Cross and John Offerdahl both said yesterday in our meeting with them. They have to control the Jets running game. So far, they haven't done a very good job of that.
That's second in the NFL in most rushing attempts. They have run extremely well. Now a 3rd down and 10. O'Brien going sideline for the tight end Mark Boyer, but he's short of the first down. Covered by the left corner, Michael Magruder. And the punting unit will check in. Miami has won the last 3 meetings against the Jets. They won the last 2 at Giant Stadium. The last Jet win over Miami at home back in 1988, a 48-34 shootout here at Giant Stadium. They've certainly had their share of shootouts. Both Marino and O'Brien have some heady statistics in this series. Aguiar with the punt. Scott Miller let it go, and it carries out of bounds at the 32. Aguiar has had his difficulties. He's hearing it from the crowd. Had his best game Monday night in Chicago, but he has struggled. With a man very familiar with these surroundings, Bill Parcells. Incidentally, Bill, I received a call from a Los Angeles area real estate agent pointing out that values are just excellent in the Anaheim area.
Oh, those rumors, Marv, I'll tell you.
Here's Marino going sideline and has the first down, combining with Clayton Hasty on the stop. Also some real estate agent from Tampa Bay call. I don't know why they're bothering me these problems. I say Bill is just so happy here in the broadcast booth.
I can hardly stand it up here with you. It's so great, Mark. You know, every week, and you know, I learn an awful lot about basketball up here. You know, it's fun.
It's a first down at the 44 with just under 1 minute remaining in the first quarter. And the Jets lead the Dolphins by the score of 7-3. Marino over the middle for Clayton. So Mark Clayton has been a factor here in the first quarter. Washington and Brim on the stop. Brim coming on for Tony Stargell, who has departed with a twisted ankle. And that pass play goes for 16 yards.
Well, you see Clayton on Brim here, and this is a zone defense, and Clayton just runs a quick slant. Marino gets it to him. Now, Hasty is going to match up with Clayton on the long yardage situations, but on the regular defense, they're going to stay on their respective sides, so they can get Clayton on Brim anytime they want to.
Clayton to the right and Duper left. Time running down in this first quarter. First down at the 40. Here's Higgs darting his way. Oh, what a run by Mark Higgs to the 30-yard line for a first down. Lonnie Young and Mo Lewis combined to make the stop, and that is the end of the first quarter. After one at Giant Stadium, it's the Jets 7 and Miami 3.
That's the end of the first quarter.
Of New York area support for Don Shula. His first ever win came on September the 23rd, 1963, when Bill, even you were a child.
Still in college, playing football, my senior year in college. 300 wins. There's not many guys around that really know how hard that is to do, but you're sitting next to one of them.
It's a 2nd and 1. They changed the spot on that last run by Higgs, short of the first down as we get underway in the second quarter. And Marino popping one deep. Touchdown! Dan Marino and Mark Duper combining. So Dan Marino, who had gone 2 games without a touchdown throw, gets off the schneid.
Well, he's got Duper against Brim this time. Now, Don Shula's the kind of coach, when he sees someone come in the game, that goes back to the old theory. Coach Landry used to do it. Shula does it. You bring a substitute in the game, they're going to check that guy out. And they've done it pretty well so far. They match up Duper there, and that was really an easy touchdown for the Dolphins.
Stoyanovich will attempt the extra point. Marino now 7 for 11, 100 yards. So the Dolphins have taken a 10-7 lead on the Jets in the opening seconds of the second. Mobile, Bill, apparently going astray, ran into the netting. That's the netting that prevents kicks from carrying into the stands. A problem back in the end zone.
Yeah, they have those mobiles all over the league now. Some guy came out with a model, and everybody went up buying one. And
you sound annoyed. You sound like you're annoyed at it.
Well, I don't like that peripheral stuff around the jet mobile.
I don't like it. Dawkins and Mathis, the deep out, and it's Mathis on the return. You don't like the jetmobile, huh? We'll deal with that a little bit later. This is a subject I really want to get into. Here's Bob with an update.
It does sound like a fascinating topic, Marv. Dan McGuire, making his first NFL start, didn't throw a pass for the Seahawks on their touchdown drive in the first quarter. John L. Williams finishes it with a 6-yard run. Since then, McGuire has thrown 3 times. One of them was picked off in the end zone. It's 7-0 Seahawks over the Colts.
All right, Bob. First and 10 from the 26, and Blair Thomas is turned back. Prior to that touchdown pass from Marino to Duper, Marino had gone 9 quarters without throwing a touchdown. Mike Reichenbach made the stop. A look at the Fram 10-minute ticker. These are final scores. I know Jeff Hostetler had some pretty good statistics, but they did not come up with the W.
Well, that's a very disappointing loss for the Giants, without question. You know, division game team, they've beaten 6 in a row. You know, that's one that they think we want to get over.
Is it Phil Simms waiting in the wings there?
Well, you know, I haven't seen enough practice. I'm sure he's waiting in the wings, but Al
Toon, who was a question mark. Practiced only one day this week. Missed most of Monday night's game with a sprained rib muscle, but he made the catch on the coverage of Vesti Jackson, and he picked up a first down.
Well, Toon just runs a little stop route against the Miami zone there, and that's an easy throw and catch for O'Brien. The only thing you have to avoid is getting the ball tipped down at the line of scrimmage by the outside linebacker.
And Ken O'Brien has opened at 5 for 5 for 76 yards. The Jets first down from their 38. O'Brien getting the time, goes the short route with Thomas. Across the 45, met by John Offerdahl. Back to the subject of Al Toon. He has denied a report that claimed he wants to be traded by the October 8th deadline. According to the report, Toon told friends that it was more fun playing for Joe Walton than Bruce Coslett. Supposedly, the crux of the matter, Coslett screamed at Toon for running an incorrect pass pattern in practice last week. Now, this may have been blown out of proportion, but Toon has admitted that he told his agent he would be receptive to a trade. Here's O'Brien for Toon. Oh, what a catch. Inside the 30.
Well, Toon's off inside against the corner Vesti Jackson, and O'Brien just lays it up. Jackson just isn't tall enough to jump that high, and Toon comes down with the reception and takes a big hit from Oliver.
Aside from the leaping ability of Al Toon, he has a good 4 inches on Vesti Jackson, who has had his difficulties. 24-yard pickup. And here's Brad Baxter.
The Miami defense has not come close to stopping the Jets so far here. Almost every play looks like it's going to break, and Kenny O'Brien has thrown the ball very accurately today. I know he was a little high on Monday night against the Bears a couple of times. Well, he's throwing it very accurately today, and the receivers are coming up with some good catches for him too. 7 for 7. Now you can't do any better than that.
Second down and 5 at the 24. 3.5 gone by second quarter. Dolphins lead the Jets 10-7. The tight end Boyer in motion, and a penalty flag is down.
That's the right tackle, Brett Miller. Now he alternates with Eatman for a series or two every game.
Snap, number 72, false start, 5 yards, still second down.
And this is what can happen. There, you know, here you see on the right side Brett Miller right there, and he's in the game for the first time. He's going to rotate some series with Eatman, who they want to give a little rest to. Both of those guys have bad knees, and they think by using both of them they can get through the season. But of course he's not used to O'Brien's voice today, and he's offside.
Well, O'Brien does have a cold, and perhaps that's it. He's screaming away in hoarse fashion. First penalty of the game in a fast-moving contest, and that time O'Brien went high, intended for Baxter. Brian Cox on the covers. That's the first incompletion for Ken O'Brien.
What you see what that penalty can do right there. They had tremendous offensive momentum going. All of a sudden you get the penalty. Now O'Brien throws the ball high, and I'm not saying that's what caused it, but there is a rhythm that does develop in football, and when it's altered, sometimes you can't get it back for a little while.
Third down and about 9 coming up. And the Jets only 2 of 25 in third down situations of 7 or more yards.
And Miami zones this one.
O'Brien able to get away. And he's hit down way short of the first down. Bobby Harton made the stop. I should point out you supplied that graphic through intensive study.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. But Kenny O'Brien really makes a smart play here. He's in the scoring zone. He's almost sacked. He gets out of trouble. Now his receivers are covered, and he's looking right down the middle of the field. But instead of throwing the ball up for grabs, possible interception, he just takes the loss, and he's still in field goal range.
And this is a 44-yard attempt, and a very important one for the head of Pat Leahy, who missed from 28 in overtime on Monday night. He was 2 for 4 against the Bears. Aguilar puts it down, and Leahy's kick. It hit the upright. So from 44 yards away, Pat Leahy hit the right upright. Pat Leahy has been so candid about his miss on Monday night. He said it was just a lousy kick, as Pat put it. And everyone had felt so bad for him. He's one of the more popular players on the Jets. 6-yard line, 5 minutes gone by. In the second quarter, the Dolphins with a 10-7 lead on the Jets. And Marino throws it away. Sammy Smith in the area. He has been spotted in this first half. Both quarterbacks are off to quick starts. O'Brien 7 for 8 for 109 yards. And you see Marino 7 for 12 for 100 yards. They've each thrown a touchdown.
Well, the defenses haven't been able to settle down. Both offenses have kept the respective defenses off balance. And the defense just, neither one of them are in any kind of continuity playing stage.
And Sammy Smith hit behind the line by Dennis Byrd. Smith has been on injured reserve. He's had a knee problem. He came on strong at the end of last season, although he did have some fumbling problems throughout the year.
Well, that's a draw play, and they're trying to get Sammy into the game, and of course Byrd just too deep in the backfield. Smith never had a chance on that play.
It's a third down and 15.
You'd be expecting a zone defense from the Jets here against Marino in this situation.
Marino rolling to his left and goes short range, very close to the marker. Able to complete to the one-time Jet, Tony Martin, who was a 5th-round draft pick of the Jets back in '89. He was stopped by the strong safety Brian Washington. And the Dolphins are short of the first down.
Well, Marino rolls out to get himself a little more time, and there he hits Tony Martin and just misses the first down by about a yard. And you know, that's a really bad play there by the Jet defense, because now they let Miami out of a very poor punting situation, and Miami can get good field position back with this guy punting. Rick Roby, the #1 guy in the league right now, 49-2.
Oh, he handled a high snap with beauty and good coverage on Terrence Mathis. Brian Cox with the pop. A 50-yard punt by Roby and a 6-yard return. So the Jets back to the offense when we come back. Coach Bruce Coslett, is this a critical game? He said he doesn't feel it's a must-win, but he said it's close to that status. Brad Baxter with a short pickup. Brian Cox makes the stop. I don't think a head coach will ever admit that there's a must-win situation, in particular 5th game of the season. But Bill, I'd have to say this is pretty close. They've lost 2 very difficult games, and as we mentioned right at the start, what are they? They're losing better. I don't know what that's worth. They have to start showing victory.
Well, he said that he acknowledged his team's effort was good, but that good is not going to be enough for very long. And this week, you know, he said he was worried about breakdowns, not letdowns, and quite obviously the Jets are ready to play today.
It's a 2nd down and 6. O'Brien with the bullet intended for Moore. He was covered by Magruder. Michael Magruder spent 3 years with Saskatchewan in the Canadian Football League, a standout in Canada. He is number 28, providing the coverage on Rob Moore.
Well, Moore, again, is quite obviously the guy O'Brien really wants today. This is a play-action pass, but Kenny's behind Moore. You have to lead him out in front so he can catch it in stride. That one kind of got away from Kenny. He put it behind. Now, Moore almost made a good adjustment to catch it, but really, he didn't have a very good opportunity to catch that one. 3 wides in the ball game now
for this 3rd down and 6.
They like to use Mathis in the slot in this case.
O'Brien in trouble and nearly was picked off. Mark Boyer, the intended receiver.
Mathis was the guy they were trying to go to, but he was double covered by the Miami defensive backs, and then Boyer was a secondary receiver. He didn't have time to get it to him.
Aguiar has come out to punt. He heard it from the crowd. His last punt went only 27 yards. Louis Aguiar beat out Joe Prokop during preseason, although Prokop was plagued by a series of injuries. Scott Miller, the rookie from UCLA, is back deep. And this is a good punt. And it's muffed by Miller, who is able to cover up. 46-yard punt. Chris Burkett on the coverage, and Miller very fortunate that it took the good Dolphin hop.
Well, the Jets have wide receivers covering the punts, and that's a very unusual situation. You see Miller drop it, but fortunately was able to get it.
Down from the 28 with 7.5 remaining in the first half. The tight end Beatty in motion. Marino again with the time and throws over the head of Mark Clayton.
James Hasty on coverage.
Well, here's a good battle here on the left side of Miami's offense. Richmond Webb against Jeff Lageman, and of course Webb runs him by Marino that time, but this Lageman's off to his best start of his career, and Webb's just getting back into it, so look for that battle to continue the rest of the way today.
Jeff Lageman, 3 sacks the last 2 games. Drafted as a linebacker, he has come on very strong this season at defensive end. 2nd and 10. Back to the ground. It has not worked on the ground for Miami. Mark Higgs, second leading rusher in the AFC behind Thurman Thomas of Buffalo, with a short pickup. Lageman and Washington combining to make the stop. Mark Higgs has been a Plan B specialist. One time an 8th-round draft pick of the Dallas Cowboys, then on to the Eagles and Miami. This is 2nd year with Miami. Had a chance to go Plan B prior to this season, but said he'd had enough movement and decided to come back to the Dolphins. Tony Scargill, bothered by a twisted ankle, is checked back in at left corner. 3rd down and 8 at the 30. Marino stepping up and hold down. First sack of the day. Marvin Washington with his first of the season.
The Jets modified their rush a little bit that time. They rushed one linebacker. You see Lonnie Young, who's really a linebacker type in this nickel defense, even though he plays safety, he's rushing. The coverage is tight. Marino can't find anyone, and they come up with the sack. But really, that was a 5-man rush instead of the traditional 4-man rush. They must feel they can't get to him with the 4-man rush.
Miami has now been sacked 10 times this season. Roby, who got off the 50-yarder, again takes a high snap, and this time line drives it. Mathis in pursuit. Mathis running out along the Miami sideline, and Roby gets credit for a 49-yard punt. J.B. Brown on the coverage. Roby a bit upset with himself. He had a sensational game last week against Green Bay, averaged just under 53 yards a punt. Next Sunday, NBC Sports will present an NFL doubleheader beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL Live, and then some of you will see the Jets play the Browns in Cleveland. Others will see a shootout between two of football's premier quarterbacks, John Elway and the Broncos, going up against Warren Moon and the Oilers. Blair Thomas out across the 40-yard line. 6:15 remaining in this first half. Capacity crowd at Giant Stadium, better than 76,000, have turned out for the Jets and the Dolphins. Jets with a 7-0 lead on their very first drive. O'Brien to Moore to cap it off on a 17-yard touchdown pass. Stoyanovich hit a 33-yard field goal to trim it to 7-3. Marino and Duper combined on a 30-yard pass play for a 10-7 lead, and Leahy missed a 44-yard field goal, hit the right upright. Marv Albert with Bill Parcells. And a penalty marker is down. Good catch by Thomas for a first down, but let's see what the flag is all about.
Penalty marker on the play.
It has been a low-key game in terms of penalties to this point. Illegal motion at the snap indicated against
illegal motion. Go right in. 5 yards. Repeat, 2nd down.
Well, Bruce Coslet's a little upset with that because, again, this is the same situation. You got a good momentum drive going. You just converted to another first down, and then you get one of these things. Now you're in a second and extra long situation, which is the way the Dolphins like to play. They second and long, they drop back in that deep zone, and they give the Jets some problems here. So it's just, you know, these little things that are keeping the Jets from scoring in proportion to the way they're moving the ball. They're moving the ball well and have all year.
Second down at 11. Baxter on the reception. Brian Cox, the rookie from Illinois, making the stop as you check out the 10-minute ticker. Kansas City with the lead on San Diego. Green Bay in front of the LA Rams. Phoenix and New England tied at 7, and Seattle in front of Indianapolis 10-0 as the Ron Meyer countdown continues.
And New England looking for their second in a row after that big upset over Houston.
Now, you would not be happy in Indianapolis. I know you like some of the people there, but Bill, you don't seem to be an Indy type of guy. I should point that out. Here's Rob Moore, able to break the tackle for a first down. 4 catches, 66 yards for Moore.
Well, quite obviously, Moore is the guy today for O'Brien. He's just working, stopping. The ball's there. Missed tackle allows the first down to take place. It's okay to give the guy a short reception, but Magruder needs to be a short tackler to prevent those first downs.
The Jets now first down at the Miami 46-yard line as we come up on 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Thomas and the Dolphins all over him, led by Alfred Oglesby and the strong safety Jarvis Williams. For Miami, this is the first of 3 straight games on the road. The Jets, New England, and then Kansas City. And according to Harvey Green, the Dolphins crack public relations director, the Dolphins will travel more miles during the 91 season than any other team in the NFL. Round trip, they'll compile close to 40,000 miles. Bill, can the players collect frequent flyer mileage?
Well, I don't know, but that can affect your wins and losses. You practicing in that hot weather all year and then having to fly all the time. People don't realize how exhausting that is. That can affect your team, too much travel.
Offerdahl and Oglesby combining on the stop of Blair Thomas. There's the exact count, 39,294 miles. One of the many tidbits you can pick up if you are fortunate enough to be on the Miami Dolphin mailing list.
Well, that Japan trip was about 14,000 of that, so, you know.
So you're saying it's kind of a stretch. It's not that bad a schedule. It's a third down and 5 with just under 3 minutes remaining in the first half. O'Brien, nice catch by Moore, and it's a Jet first down. And Ken O'Brien continues to be right on target. He's 10 for 13 for 135 yards.
Well, at this rate, Moore is good, maybe a contender for the NFL record today because he seems like the recipient of every O'Brien pass, and certainly every key pass.
That is 5th reception of the day. Freeman McNeil has come on. McNeil in the backfield with Baxter. First down at the Miami 33. The Dolphins 10 and the Jets 7 in a quick-moving first half. O'Brien with lots of time. Oh, beautiful catch by Chris Burkett. First catch of the day for Burkett, who's played well. That went for 22, and he did it against the strong safety, number 26, Jarvis Williams.
Well, Chris Burkett is a guy, in talking to Coach Coslet, that seems to have kind of found a home here after moving around. The problems are well documented up in Buffalo and with Kelly, and now he's down here, and last year he wasn't that settled down, but he came in, no problems, and he's having his best year without question. He's really helping the Jets.
The Jets on first down plays have averaged better than 9 yards per play.
But more important than that, Kenny O'Brien, Marv, is averaging 11.2 per pass attempt. Now, his regular season average per pass attempt is only 6 yards, so he's almost twice as good today as he's been all year.
2 minutes remaining in the first half. Brad Baxter looking to turn it. Stopped at the line by Michael Magruder and David Griggs. Griggs coming up from his outside linebacker position. David Griggs last November had a strong one against the Jets. His best game of his NFL career, 6 tackles, 2.5 sacks. Brad Baxter, an excellent blocker who has surprised the coaches by his improved play in a second year out of Alabama State. Jets now second and about 8 with 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. First half. Baxter peeling off. O'Brien. And it is completed to Toon. And we'll have to see where they mark his progress. Now Toon gang tackled and some chatter between the Dolphins and the Jets. Louis Oliver leading the assault and now more than chatter. Things getting a bit testy. And O'Brien in the midst of it all. He was going at Richard Dent of the Bears Monday night pretty good.
Well, it's important that the players know that your quarterback will fight if he has to. I think it's a thing that shows leadership and shows toughness. And, you know, everybody always kind of wonders whether how tough your quarterback is. This guy's tough enough, believe me.
10th play of the drive. Clock is running. It's a 3rd and 1. Down at the 2. Jets do have their 3 timeouts, and now they use one of them. So they take a timeout. Miami with its 3, and we'll take a break. Back after this. For Cincinnati Bengals, a bye week for the AFC Central. Boomer sitting it out.
I bet they wish they didn't have a bye week. When you're 0-4, you want to play. You want to beat somebody just to get that negativism off your back.
Too early, I think, for the off week. 5th week of the season. 3rd down and 1. For 2, McMillan Baxter in the backfield. They get in motion. Here is Baxter backing his way for the touchdown. Driving move by Brad Baxter, led by the combination of the tight end Boyer with the right tackle Eatman and Matic. So with 38 seconds remaining in this first half, the Jets recapture the lead. And Pat Leahy will attempt the extra point. Jets now lead the Dolphins 14-10. We'll be right back. 7 seconds. Jets lead the AFC in the category of time of possession, averaging 34 minutes a game over the first 4 weeks. Aaron Craver on the return. Across the 20-yard line, Don Boyd Odegaard made the stop. And here's another look at that Jet touchdown to give them the 14-10 lead on Miami.
Well, the 2 best blockers they have are Irv Eatman and Dwayne White. You see them both start off on the defensive end. Then White just slips back and gets his body on the linebacker, and Baxter has a crease, and he's right in. But those are the 2 guys to run behind. They've been doing it all year, and I think they're going to stay with it.
John Galvin, strong special teams player, in his 4th season out of Boston College, shaken up on that return by Craver. 34 seconds to go in this first half, and the Jets with a 14-10 lead on Miami. Here are the final scores from earlier. Buffalo over Chicago, so Buffalo now 5-0, and the Bears go to 4-1. Dallas beating the Giants, who dropped to 2-3.
Don't show me that again.
New Orleans defeating Atlanta. So Jim Mora's club now 5-0, and Detroit over Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 0-5. Detroit now 4-1. Lions have not lost since week 1. And the later games at the half, Raiders in front of San Francisco. Kansas City now leads San Diego in the second quarter. Green Bay with a 7-6 lead on the Los Angeles Rams. New England and Phoenix tied at 7. And Seattle has increased its lead in the second quarter in front of the Indianapolis Colts by the score of 17-0.
Well, you know, I think the interesting thing about that Detroit team is, you know, at the end of preseason and after the first week, well, the 45-0 loss to the Redskins, everybody was ready to write them off. And now here they are tied for the division lead after 5 weeks. So, you know, it just goes to show you what appears to be one way coming out of training camp really can be a lot different a few weeks down the road.
It has been a long time between victories for the Dallas Cowboys over your former club, the Giants.
Well, I'm sure they're happy to win that one because they've had problems beating the Giants and the Eagles. Those are the two teams that they haven't been able to beat in Jimmy Johnson's tenure there. So,
it looks like Galvin is all right. Now, Bill, I put you on truth serum here. Do you go home and you take the Giant game? Do you watch the game?
No, I don't. As a matter of fact, I've only seen one game, and that was the first game of the year, the Monday night game. I haven't had the good fortune to see it.
And you've been studying the color commentators when you watch the games these days.
Yes, I have.
Of course.
Guys like you.
It's a first down from the 22. Down to a half minute to go in this first half. It is incomplete. Intended for Duper. And Odegaard on the stop. I mentioned the stats. Hostetler, 28 for 34, 368 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Does Ray Handley have a decision here this week to make?
Oh, I don't think so. You know, Hostetler quite obviously threw the ball very well today, but it's the point total that has to concern him. You know, when you're averaging under 16 points a game in this league, you're not going to win too many games. Got to get it over 20, 24, 27. That's what wins for you.
And Marino airs one out. Can we get the shot of the booth once again? One thing has been bothering me, Bill.
Just one thing?
No, really. I mean, a little makeup would have taken care of this little cut here. You need the fight doctor. I think you need a cut man.
Ferdy? Should we bring Ferdy over?
What are you doing to yourself?
Well, you never know. You cut yourself up. You're nervous. I'm coming on the telecast with you. You know I got to be up to speed to even stay at the same level with you. So I got a little nervous this morning when I was shaving. I cut myself.
Comes in here dripping with blood. It's a tough business.
It's a vampire look.
Whoa. 24 seconds remaining in the half. Marino has a 3rd and 10 at the 22. And he fires one deep. Lonnie Young providing the coverage on Mark Duper. Out of 18 seconds to go in the half.
4th and 10.
And Roby will come on. Miami with only 132 total yards. Their running game in the first half shut down. 8 rushes, 20 yards, and Marino looks to be upset.
He is a little upset. He had 3 timeouts, you know, if he could have hit one pass there, he had time to work down into field goal range, and he knew that. But he got a little frustrated that he couldn't get anything going at all and use, you know, at least a couple of those timeouts to pressure the Jets right here at the half.
Marino 8 for 17, 114 yards. Here's Reggie Roby on for the 3rd time. Leads the AFC 2nd in the NFL in punts inside the Clouds block. Chris Burkett runs it in. Difficulties with the snap. That was his third snap, and all three have been poor. We'll have to check that one out, as Chris Burkett was able to run it in off the block. Leahy drills it through, and with only 12 seconds remaining in the half, the Jets now lead the Dolphins 21-10.
Well, the Jets are a team that's fortunate to have wide receivers like Burkett who can excel on special teams. It's very unusual to see wide receivers blocking punts like this. He got by the fullback, and of course now he recovers it himself and scores with it. But the Jets, Dawkins and Burkett, are two special teams guys that the Jets use as punt cover guys and punt blockers. And it's a big luxury to have receivers doing these defensive type jobs on your team. It gives you a lot of depth. I also believe, Marv, that this is the first actual block punt in the NFL this year. I know that that New England kicked one into the fullback a couple of weeks ago against Pittsburgh, but to my knowledge, this is the first block punt of the NFL season.
That was Brian Wagner, who was cut the following week. After that errant punt. The crowd reacting to the Jets. This was a very lively crowd for the Buffalo Jet game here at Giant Stadium. So Burkett, the one-time Buffalo Bill, with the block and able to run it home. Kickoff put on the ground and handled by the tight end Charles Henry with 9 seconds to go in the half. And what's strange about that, the guy who just blocked the punt and scored the touchdown just made the tackle on the kickoff coverage. And as I said, when you got receivers doing these special teams jobs, you've got depth on your team that a lot of teams don't have. Usually it's just defensive backs and linebackers and backs that are doing it. But these receivers that can do that are a tremendously valuable asset to a coaching staff. And Mr. Stats, Elliott Cow pointing out, Al Roberts very happy about that block punt. The last time the Dolphins had a block punt return for a touchdown was back in November of 1980. The LA Rams pulling it off. Final seconds of the half. Marino stepping up, and Clayton broke a tackle, gets to the 35. Time running down, and Miami finally gets the timeout called with 1 second remaining.
Well, this is what Marino wanted to do the series before. Just make one play. Now he's got a shot at a field goal. I'm certain that Stoyanovich will try it from here.
26-yard pass play. And here comes the field goal unit onto the field with 1 second left in the half. Pete Stoyanovich hit from 33 yards away. In the first quarter, he's 6 for 6 for the season. Last week, 3 out of 3 against Green Bay, including one from 52 yards away. This is a 54-yard attempt, and as I mentioned earlier, his career high is 59, and that was accomplished here at Giant Stadium. He has an angle to the right.
Well, he's got a lot of wind behind him today here. I know there's wind in this stadium, quite obviously, and I think with his leg, he's got a shot to make this one.
This from 54. Secules will put it down. The spectacular kicking of Pete Stoyanovich continues. They now call it officially a 53-yard field goal. Bruce Koslett not pleased as the 26-yard pass play from Marino to Clayton set it up, and then Stoyanovich able to drill it home from 53. At halftime, the Jets with a